Homework?
Why don't you have a seat? All right. If you come into class and you become worried about homework, what we can do is take a deep breath, and then you can take a look at the board, and the homework is written on the board. That way we can relax, and then you can earn all of your points towards your daily goal and getting started right away when we get to class. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reading a story about World War II. And in World War II, I know you learned about it in history, there was a leader named Hitler, and he had soldiers named
Nazi,
and he was against people who were followed the religion of the Jewish people. So what we're going to do today is read a story about a girl, Anne, who lived during that time and what her experience was like during that during that time in World War II. How do you feel when you hear the words Hitler and Nazi?
Sad.
Yeah, I feel sad too. Can we put that into a sentence, a full sentence? I feel sad.
Sad. I feel sad.
Excellent. So while we're going to be reading the story, we have our characters listed here on this side, and then we have our action words here, such like feel. And then when you have feelings, then you found sad quickly, with some of our other feelings that you might have while we're reading the story. And then also if you have questions, you can click on why or what's that if you don't understand a vocabulary word. Or maybe you might have a reaction, oh no, or maybe something similar, me too. You can click on those while you're reading the story also. So why don't we get started? Early one rainy July morning, a young girl and her parents left home and walked swiftly through the quiet streets. Although it was hot, they were dressed in heavy winter clothes. The girl wore 2 undershirts, 3 pairs of underpants, a dress, a skirt, a jacket, shorts, 2 pairs of stockings, lace-up shoes, a woolly hat, a scarf, and still more. Wow, a lot of clothes. Other clothes and papers were stuffed into the bags that they carried. The bags were heavy and the rain poured down, but no one offered a ride to the small group. The girl that knew that it would be more than 2 years until she would walk outside again. Her name was Anne Frank.
Why?
Why did no one talk to them? Remember, at that time, a lot of people didn't talk to people who were Jewish because they were afraid, because Hitler said it was bad to do so. So they didn't want to get in trouble. Anne Frank was born in Germany. Her parents, Edith and Otto Frank, were German Jews. They came from the town of Frankfurt am Main, where Otto's family had lived for generations. First, the Franks had a daughter named Margot. Then on June 12, 1929, Anne was born. The Franks' house was in a pretty neighborhood where Anne played happily in her sandbox or with the many other children who lived nearby. What religion was Anne's family?
Jewish.
But outside the loving world of Papa, Mama, and Margot, bad things were happening in Germany. People lost their jobs and had no money for food and clothes. They were scared and angry. They wanted a leader who promised an end to their problems. Adolf Hitler, who came to power in 1933, sad? Seemed like such a leader. Yeah, when I hear Hitler's name,
Hitler.
I also feel sad.
Sad.
Can we put that into a sentence? I feel sad.
Sad. I feel sad.
Perfect. He told the Germans that they were better than all the other people on earth. He blamed Germany's trouble mainly on the Jews. He immediately began passing laws that discriminated against the Jews. Hitler and all the people who supported him were called Nazis, a shortened version of the German word National Socialist.
Horrible.
Horrible? Yes. That is horrible.
Horrible.
Can you do that?
That is horrible.
Nice job. Anne's father saw that it was not safe to be a Jew in Nazi Germany, so when Anne was 4, he took his family to Amsterdam, the Netherlands. What's that? What's the Netherlands?
What's that?
What's that? The Netherlands?
What's that?
Yeah, what's that? The Netherlands, they're a place. They're a place in Europe. so they moved away. The Franks liked their new home. It was not far from the shore, and they spent happy summer holidays on the beach. When Anne started school at the age of 5, she quickly learned to read and write. She was a good student and had lots of friends. Because Anne was outgoing and lively, she was often given lead parts in the school play. So who took Anne's family from Germany?
Father.
Good. Good. So father took Anne's family from Germany. In 1939, Hitler declared war on Poland. War broke out across Europe, and soon Hitler's armies reached the Netherlands, where Anne and her family lived. Even with the war going on, Anne still had fun with her friends. History.
World War II.
Good, World War II. This is what we're reading about. History, movies, stars, cats, and dogs were among her favorite things. Another favorite thing was the little red and white checked.
Me too.
Me too. History, movie star, cats, and dogs. Yes, you do like history and movie stars, and I know you like dogs too. So you want to have something in common. Another favorite thing, the little red and white checked diary she got from her parents as a 13th birthday present. Anne was thrilled by the gift and thought of it as her best friend. She wanted to give it a name, so all the entries in the diary began with Dear Kitty. What did Anne get for her birthday?
Diary.
Good. What did she name that diary?
Kitty.
Good, right? And she thought of it as her friend. She thought of it as her friend. Writing to Kitty, Anne described how Hitler's anti-Jewish or against Jewish laws had spread to Holland. Slowly, Jews lost their jobs, and their possessions had been taken away. All Jews over the age of 6 had to wear a 6-pointed yellow Star of David on their clothing.
Why?
Why? Because Hitler wanted people to be able to tell who was Jewish and who wasn't just by looking at their clothes. So if they wore that star, we knew if they were Jewish. Although Anne did not know it, her father was making plans for the family to go into hiding. In July 1942, the Frank family moved into a hidden apartment in the back of a building that housed Otto Frank's business. Anne called it the secret annex. The entrance...
What's that?
What's an annex? That's an addition or another part to the house to make it bigger. And in this case, in Anne's case, it was a secret hiding spot in the house. The entrance to their rooms was blocked by a movable bookcase that was built just after they settled in. So they lived behind a bookcase. Behind the bookcases. That's where Anne was. Only 7 people knew that the family was there. 4 of them worked in Otto's office. These friends smuggled foods and clothing to the Franks where they could. Friend, right? Friend. They're good. Good friend. A good friend to do that. These friends smuggled food and clothing to the Franks when they could. Had they been caught by Germans, they could have been put to death. Anne is
afraid.
Anne is afraid probably at this time.
Is afraid.
Anne is afraid. She's in hiding. She's hiding from the Nazis. After the Franks had been living in the secret annex for about a week, they were joined by Mr. and Mrs. Van Pels and their 15-year-old son, Peter. Anne was glad that Peter had brought along his pet cat, Mushi, since Anne had to leave her own cat behind when they left home. In November, the last member of their little group, a dentist named Fritz Pfeffer, came to stay as well. So we have Mushi comes into play. And I just got a cat that looks just like Mushi. Life in hiding was not easy for Anne. She was often bored and lonely. She longed for her friends, her school, most of all her freedom. Living in such close quarters with near strangers was not easy either. Many times there were arguments. Anne quarreled with her mother and sister. She even felt misunderstood by her beloved father. All of her sadness and frustration was poured out into the pages of her diary. Kitty, who was her friend throughout. Where was Anne?
Attic.
Good. Anne was in the attic. Why was she in the attic? She was hiding from who?
Nazi.
Nazis, yes. Anne told Kitty how strange she felt during the first few days in the secret annex. She missed her friends, the black bicycle on which she rode to school, and the room in which she had grown up. Since the Franks were frightened of being discovered, they had to whisper and tiptoe around during the day. Only at night, afraid. Anne
N
is
is
afraid.
afraid.
Anne is afraid?
N is
Afraid.
afraid.
Yes. She's afraid. She has to stay quiet so they don't get her. Since the Franks were frightened of being discovered, they had to whisper and tiptoe during the day. Only at night could they relax a little, although they still had to take care not to be seen through the windows. Using scraps of different materials, Anne and her father stitched together some curtains that they pinned through the wall. Yet Anne was brave. She tried hard to stay busy and cheerful. She spent time reading and doing schoolwork so she wouldn't be too far behind when she was able to return to school. She worked on a detailed family tree of all the kings and queens of Europe, and she learned shorthand. She loved to look at pictures of her favorite movie stars and paste their pictures.
Me too.
Me too? Oh, you like looking at movie stars, yes. And paste their pictures on the walls of her bedroom. Even in hiding, there were still little treats and surprises. Like the time when Anne, who was growing quickly, outgrew her shoes and was given a pair of red high heels by Miep Gies, one of the devoted friends who knew their secret.
Good. Friend.
Good, yes. That is a good friend to do that for her. The attic was Anne's special place, since it had a small window that could be opened to let in a glimpse of the stars, sunshine, or the tower across the street. Anne and Margot often went up there to read, and when Anne and Peter performed a special friendship, the attic was the place where they got together to talk. Have you ever been in an attic before?
Yes.
Attic? Yes. Can you tell me about
Little.
that? Yeah, an attic is little, usually. Alone in the attic, Anne often thought about the life she hoped to lead when the war ended. She wanted to be a writer. In addition to her diary, she wrote tales and other imaginary stories. She even began work on a book called Stories and Events from the Secret Annex. And when she learned that the government hoped to publish all diaries, she started to copy hers neatly on paper. On lined paper. She cherished the dream that someday.
What's that?
What's that? What's cherished? She hoped, and she was hoping, and she was really excited that someday her words be read by people all over the world, which they are today. We still read her diary. Although the little group was cut off from the rest of the world, they managed to hear news from a radio kept in Otto's office. At night, they would creep into the room and turn it on. When Anne heard that the Germans were losing the war, she was hopeful. She wrote in her diary, despite everything, that she still believed people were really good at heart. What did Anne do in the attic?
Right.
Right? Where did she write in?
Kitty.
Yeah, she spoke to Kitty. That was her good friend.
Friend.
Yeah. But someone discovered Frank's hiding place and told the police. On August 4th...
Oh no.
Yeah, oh no. Yeah. On August 4th, 1944, the secret annex was raided by German and Dutch Nazis. Anne and the others were now prisoners. The Franks, the Van Pels, and Fritz Pfeffer were sent to Westerbork, a concentration camp in Holland. And I know you learned about concentration camps in social studies, where they were made to work for the Nazis.
Sad.
I sad. I
I
feel
feel
sad.
sad. I feel sad. Me too.
Me too. I feel sad too. A month later, they were sent to Auschwitz, a concentration camp in Poland. The conditions there were terrible. Anne, Margot, and their mother were forced to work with little food, water, or clothing. Many people around them died of hunger and sickness.
Horrible.
Horrible, yes. That
Dead.
is
Is
horrible.
afraid.
Oh, that
Dead.
is.
Is horrible.
Can you do a sentence for me? That
Dead.
is.
Is horrible.
Yes, it is horrible. A horrible way to treat people. Many people around them died of hunger and sickness. Many others were killed outright by the Nazis. In October, the two girls were sent to Bergen-Belsen, a camp in Germany. Their parents were left at Auschwitz, where their mother, Edith, died. It was a long, cold winter, and the girls got sick. First, Margaret died of a disease, and a short while later, Anne died too. She had not yet turned 16.
I feel sad.
Me too.
Me too.
I feel sad too.
Muski.
What happened to Mushi? I don't know. It doesn't say in the story. Maybe we'll keep reading and find out. But that's, yeah, it is very sad because Anne died. Anne's diary and other papers were found in the annex by Miep Gies, who kept them after the war ended. Anne's father went back to Amsterdam. He was the only one from the secret annex who survived the hard winter at Auschwitz. When he read the diary Miep gave him, he decided that it should be published. Who left? Who stayed? Father, he was the only one who was able to live.
Attic.
Oh, yeah, father, he goes back to the attic, and he goes back for
Diary.
Anne's diary. Anne's little book became extremely popular and was translated into many languages. Because people were amazed by Anne's courage and maturity, the story of her life was made into a play. And the building where she and her family hid, that attic, that was turned into a museum, so we can go and visit still. Anne Frank lives through her remarkable words, which are an inspiration to millions of people around the world. So we still listen to her story today. How do you feel? What do you think?
That is sad.
What do you think?
What do I think? I think that is horrible.
Sad.
That is sad. And that is horrible.
Afraid.
Oh, that is horrible.
Horrible.
But it's a good thing that we know her story, and hopefully we don't have to listen to more stories like that in the future and with other wars.